Today I want to discuss something. I want to try to be quick because I have to go in 10 minutes, but I'm going to try to be under 5 minutes. It's a topic that I could cover for years and years, and we would only we only scratch the surface. I want to talk about Lorne Armstrong's victim complex. Lorne, he has how can I best say it? No matter what happens, he's always the victim. It doesn't matter. It's actually one of the aspects that both annoys me and fascinates me because there is a disconnect between reality and his mind, and not just on the conscious level, but the unconscious level. If you study a bit of psychology, you'll read about victims complex, a very broad topic, but it stems down to one thing: are you aware that you have a victim complex? If you are, it's on the conscious level. So you're doing that consciously, and you know it's bullshit. When Lorne says, for example, that he was coerced into committing a crime he had no intention of committing, you might think that he knows he's lying, and that would be on the conscious level. But I think he really believes that. I don't know if he believes it because he's stupid, because he repeated the lie to himself enough times, or, and that's the more likely opinion, in my opinion, that's the more likely, the most probable outcome is that he can't accept reality. He has to lie to himself to survive. In a way, his victim complex might be a survival mechanism. Because let's look at the situation rationally, okay, as humans. Lorne is a monster. Let's not lie, let's not bullshit, let's not pull any... Lorne is a monster. He's an atrocity. I'm not going to use the word scum of the scum, but let's say you had the choice between saving Lorne Armstrong or saving Brock Turner. Who would you save? Okay, that one is maybe a bad example, but you know what I mean. Lorne is at the bottom of the bottom. The crimes he did are so heinous, they're so horrible, they're so scummy. When you study them, you have to think about them. That's one thing. When you're in jail, you have a lot of time to think, and eventually you start thinking about your crime. And if Lorne thinks about his crime, he has to come to the logical conclusion that he's a monster. Okay, there's no other outcome. There's no, it's the Illuminati and the use rays. Lorne is a monster, and everyone sees him as a monster. Everyone except a couple of fucked up people. They look at him, and he's a monster. And I think to himself, he realized what he did. At least at first, he realized what he did, how horrible it was. And the thought was so painful, he couldn't cope with it. And so he went and developed that weird, bizarre extrapolation. I think that Lorne is confabulating. That's a new word for you if you never heard about it. Confabulation is when you take some events in your life and you rewrite them in a way or another, and you really believe them. I believe that Lorne really believes this crap. And in fact, if you go near him and you confront him about that, he's going to get angry because the walls that he built to protect his little lies, his little fantastical world where he's innocent and everyone is guilty except for him, the walls are not solid. They're paper thin. They're about as solid as what he built for Betty Okay. So that's why, in my opinion, Lorne's victim complex is a subconscious or unconscious decision, I should say. I think he has to. And I think if we were to dig in his life, we would find many examples of him getting abused and rewriting history in order to reassure him in his bullshit, in his confabulation. At this point, I don't think it's even possible to get the truth out of Lorne because I think he's forgotten the true truth, and he's written his own truth. And when people don't buy his confabulation, his story, then they're the enemy. They're with the enemy. They're evil. They're wrong. They work for NBC. At one point, he's going to accuse KBI agent Kayla of being a KBI agent. I think he really believes that, even though it's not true. She was just a woman, just a civilian. Lorne's victim complex, I could spend days discussing it, but it goes down to, first, I'm never going to take responsibility for what I did. He never did, never will. Because if he does, he's going to realize he's a monster, and the thought of I'm a monster is going to destroy him completely. In a way, the subconscious part of his brain might be doing that to protect him. But the thing is about Lorne, he was doing his little victims complex way before he did that crime with Kayla. But I think the arrest, the stress, the 5 years in jail pushed it to the next level. Like before Kayla, I think he was still connected to reality. I think he could still say about Betty, if you really corner him, I think he would say about Betty, yes, I stole her money. Today, when he's confronted about that, he's going to say, I stole her money, but I was going to pay her back and I was caught by Dateline. So it's Dateline's fault. You know, I was working to pay her back in Nashville. He was earning like $100 a week. And then I got caught. I couldn't pay it back. And it was my brother's responsibility. I got abused by people I trust. That's what he said to Ethan. He doesn't say I'm a scammer, which he is. And he built that story where everyone is at fault except for him. He's always the victim. Of course, he took some money from Betty. And that's a question I wish Ethan had asked him. Of the $30,000 that you stole from Betty, how much went into your pocket and how much went into the pockets of your brothers? Never asked, because he would have given a straight answer, of course, but I think he would have become frustrated at Ethan. He would have said, not very little. How much exactly? $1,000, but I worked for a month. He would say, okay, so where's the other $29,000? Oh, my brother took it. All $39,000? But you know what I mean. He's not going to say, $30,000, I took $10K, Tony took $10K, and my brother took $10K. We all had a third of the responsibility. He's not going to say that. He's going to say, I got exploited by people I trusted. It's their fault. It's their fault. Even though he was the one with the business. He was the CEO of the business. He's the one who signed the contract. No, he got exploited by people. And with Kayla, when he meets Kayla, he goes and he says, like, my brothers abuse me, blah, blah, blah. And he has always, no matter the situation, he's the victim. So when he leaves his job, for example, he doesn't say, I didn't like it. He says, my boss told me what to do. I'm the victim. And every time, I'm smoking, but it's because I wanted to do it like my brothers. My brothers did it, so I did it because of them. Not once in his life has he said it's my fault. I think he had that capacity before getting caught. After jail, I don't think he does. I think that Lorne, no matter what happens, he's always, he always gonna say he has 0% responsibility. There is that interview with Amber where he says that he would have done something horrible, but again, he doesn't say that it is his fault. He cries and he says, I would have done something horrible, but I was vulnerable. I had just moved on. My family had abused him. I have problems of trust. Not once does he say, I'm a pedophile. I'm a child predator, which he is. And that's fascinating. I'm going to stop here. But Lorne's victim complex is always the victim. And if you talk to him today about Amber, he's going to say that he's the victim, which is fascinating. Anyway, let me know what you think. We could spend hours discussing that. It's a very broad topic.